Hare Krishna. Someone read the translation.
The Lord appeared in the mortal world by his internal potency, Yogamaya. He came in his eternal form, which is just suitable for his pastimes. These pastimes were wonderful for everyone, even for those proud of their own opulence, including the Lord himself in his form as the Lord of Vaikuntha. Thus, his, Sri Krishna's, transcendental body is the ornament of all ornaments.
So here he is in the next three verses. Vidura is actually glorifying about the transcendental beauty of Lord Krishna's form. Because in the previous verses I was talking about his form was visible and it became invisible. So I mean the forms of this world are keep becoming visible and invisible. What is so special about this form of Lord Krishna? So that he establishes in the next couple of verses. So here he says that Yen Martalila Upaikam Swayoga Maya Balam Darshayata Grihitam. So Lord Krishna displayed a form which is suitable to perform Martalila, human pastimes or human like pastimes. Previously, Lord appeared in many avatars. The different forms are of different appearances. Varaha, Kurma, Matsya, Haygriva, Nrsimha. They are all of different variety of forms. But when he appeared as Krishna, he displayed a human form. And why? With a particular purpose, he appeared as Lord Krishna. What was the purpose? Swa Yogamaya Balam Darshayata. In order to displace the strength of his Yogamaya. Swa Yogamaya. What is the strength of his own Yogamaya? His own internal potency. In order to display the potency of his internal energy to the people of this world completely in fullness, he appeared in this beautiful form. Darshayita Gruhitam. So some people say that taking the word Grihitam, that oh, he had accepted the human form. He is actually not human, but he accepted the human form. So it is not that he accepted the human form. The meaning of the Gruhitam means he revealed his original form. His original form is Krishna, that is human-like form, and now it is the right time to reveal it, so he revealed it. So Srila Jiva Goswami, while explaining in Krishna Sandarbha, in order to describe about Lord Krishna's transcendental form, how Lord Krishna's form is eternal and it is human or human-like, whatever we can say. There is it takes the reference of this verse and he explains the meaning of Gruhitam. Grihita means he did not accept something, instead he revealed something which is actually his original nature. He revealed himself in this particular avatara in his original form. And somebody may say, okay, what is so special about his original form? So what? There are many forms appeared, this form also appeared. But the specialty of this form is Vismapanam Swastacha. Whenever Lord appears in any form, like Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, that may be creating astonishment to the people of this world. The people who are living in this world, everyone may be getting astonished. Wow, Lord, wonderful! Lord appeared in a wonderful form, beautiful form, a majestic form, etc., etc. But now, not only the people of this world, even Swastacha, Lord's own expansions who are there eternally in Vaikuntha, they also became bewildered, not bewildered, they also became astonished. Vismapanam, Vismaya Rasa, Mahavismaya Rasa. When Bhagavad Gita 11th chapter, Virat Roop is explained, that time Lord Krishna, not Lord Krishna, Sanjaya uses that Arjuna goes through this state called Mahavismaya Rasa. First he goes through Vismaya, then Mahavismaya, then eventually goes through Bhayanaga when he sees Kalarupa. So when he saw the grandeur of universal form, Arjuna went through Adbhuta Rasa, wonder, great wonder. Same way, Lord Krishna Swamsha expansions, all the Vishnu forms of Vaikuntha, they all experienced this astonishment. So one of the reason is Lord Karunadaksha Vishnu, Mahavishnu, in order to have darshan of both Krishna and Arjuna, he kidnapped the sons of Brahmanas. A Brahmanas, 9 sons he kidnapped, even 10th son, 10th son was kidnapped. That time Krishna himself takes Arjuna to the on the shore of Viraja river, wherein Mahavishnu is situated. There Mahavishnu took the darshan of both Arjuna and Krishna and became very much satisfied. So that is what here is saying that Vismasanpanam Swasya. Even the forms of Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna are astonished. Cha indicates even the people in Vaikuntha, all the Vaikuntha Vasis who are continuously serving Lord Vishnu's unlimited forms, even they also became astonished to see the beautiful form of Lord Krishna. It seems that it is Krishna's form is also rare for the Vaikuntha Vasis. So that is it is indicated. And Saubagarde Parampadam. This form is the bestower of the auspiciousness to the both material world and to the spiritual world to the topmost extent. Saubaga means Subhaga, Subhada auspiciousness. Like in NOD we read that Kleshagni and Shubhadagni. The first two qualities of bhakti is it gives us removal of distress and auspiciousness. Here Saubhaga Arde means Shubhaga Arde means the end, the what do you say? The outer end of the auspiciousness is bestowed by this form. That's why this form is called Parampadam. The transcendental, not transcendental. Parama means it is like topmost understanding of that form of the Supreme Lord. There is nothing beyond this. This is the topmost understanding of the form which is able to give us complete auspiciousness. And Bhushana Bhushanangam. He actually beauty of all his ornaments. Of course, different meanings to Bhushana Bhushanangam. One is Lord's beauty increases the beauty of his garments and ornaments. That is directly to the personality of Lord Krishna. Or Lord's beauty is in the display of his wonderful qualities. When a person displays some of the qualities, that person becomes uh, recognized by everyone. He becomes affectionate to everyone. He becomes respected by everyone when somebody sees some wonderful qualities in someone. But Lord Krishna is the enhancer of the beauty of all the beautiful qualities. That is the greatness of Lord Krishna's form. This is same theme is presented in Srimad Bhagavatam 5th canto, I think 19th chapter, where Hanumanji and Sugriva were glorifying the wonderful activities and pastimes of Lord Ram, who are staying in Kimpurusha Varsha. There they say that Sadhu Vada Nikasha Naya. So when we want to test gold, whether gold is pure gold or not, we have a stone. They actually uh, strike, scratch the golden ornament upon the stone. If the golden ornament is making a continuous line, that means it is a pure gold. If the line is not continuous, the gold is not pure. Similarly, if any quality is to be mentioned as a bona fide quality, it is a good one quality. That quality must have been displayed by Lord Ram. Sadhu Vada Nikashanaya. Lord Rama is the touchstone for testing the qualities of this world. So whatever quality displayed by Lord Ram becomes a bona fide quality which can be followed by anybody else. So in that way, here Lord Krishna is told as Bhushana Bhushanangam, who increases the glory of all the wonderful qualities of this world that we can see in the people of this world. So these are all different attributes of Lord Krishna's beautiful form that Vidura remembers about it. So here Prabhupada writes, in conformity with the Vedic hymns, Nityo Nityanam Chetana Chetananam, the personality of Godhead is more excellent than all other living entities within the universe in the material world. He is the chief of all living entities. No one can surpass him or be equal to him in wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. So basically, Lord Krishna is possesses all the six opulences to the topmost extent, and he displays them to the topmost extent. So then he writes, when Lord Krishna was within this universe, he seemed to be a human being because he appeared in a manner just suitable for his pastimes in this material world. So, but acharyas, many acharyas, they say that they actually establish that Lord Krishna did not accept a human being, human form, or did not appear in human form, just like he appeared in lion form, like that, not like that. All that, just like all the other forms of the Lord are there, eternal, they are there, like that. Lord Krishna's eternal form in the Goloka Vrindavan is the form with which he appeared in this world. It is his eternal form. That's why he appeared in this form. He did not accept, did not borrow the form from some other human being or something like that. When people play in the dramas, we borrow costumes from somebody else. So wearing those costumes, we appear to be like a king or like a sadhu or like a sannyasi or something like that. Based on the clothes, we get a identity. Lord Krishna did not take like that. It is his eternal and permanent appearance in the spiritual world. But here he appeared in order to display the topmost notch of the strength of his yoga maya by performing all his pastimes. Everyone is more or less proud of his opulence in this world. But when Lord Krishna was in human society, he excelled all his contemporaries within the universe. So, with this purpose, he appeared in this world in order to exhibit the glory of his Yogamaya potency. His body manifested in the material world is transcendental par excellence in the sense that his pastimes in the mortal world excel his mercy displayed in the Vaikuntha Lokas. The pastimes of Lord Krishna are much more superior to the pastimes which Lord Vishnu performs in his eternal Vaikuntha abodes. Prabhupada gives an example of Ras Leela also. So in that way, that is the one of the pastime which shows one of his excellent attributes. So like that, Vidura is glorifying the beauty of his wonderful form. He will continue the same in the next couple of verses. So what kind of form is released by Vishnus of Vaikuntha and Vaikuntha Vasis? Vidura did not give any clue, but overall they released the form of Krishna. And coming to more very personal, he is going to give another reference wherein Vidura himself is a personal witness, where the beauty of Lord Krishna was relished by everyone, whoever present in that assembly. That is mentioned in this verse. यद्धर्मशूनोर्बतराजसूये निरीक्ष्य दृक्स्वस्तैनं त्रिलोका कार्ष्णेन चाद्येह गतं विधातुर् अर्वाक् श्रुतौ कौशलमिति अमन्यता.
All the demigods from the upper, lower, and middle universal planetary systems assembled at the altar of the Rajasuya sacrifice performed by Maharaj Yudhishthir. After seeing the beautiful bodily features of Lord Krishna, they all contemplated that he was the ultimate dexterous creation of Brahma, the creator of human beings.
So he is giving a practical experience that was done by Vidura himself. He is quoting the instant during Rajasuya sacrifice when Yudhishthira Maharaj, after conquering all the four directions, when he was performing Rajasuya sacrifice, many kings assembled there to be part of that. Not only the kings of this world, even the devatas from the heavenly abodes, all the way up to Brahmaloka. Lord Brahma was personally present, Lord Shiva was personally present, Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu. All the variety of devatas were personally present in that assembly. And also all the kings of this world. So, what happened in that? Yet Dharmashunor Batarajasuye Niriksha Drik Swastenam Triloka. All these personalities who visited from all the planetary systems of the entire universe, all the way up to Satyaloka, Lord Brahma and all most of his associates, all the great sages, Narada, Vyasa, and so many things, so many people, they were all not attracted to the elaborate arrangements made in that sacrifice, are not even attracted to the beautiful building constructed by Mayadanav called as Mayasabha. Instead, they were all attracted to only one thing, and they are constantly gazing upon it, just like a bumblebee moves around the lotus flower with a desire to get nectar, more and more nectar. They were all looking at the beautiful form of Lord Krishna. They were only attracted to the beautiful form of Lord Krishna. But the people like Duryodhana and others who are envious of the opulence of the Pandavas, they were attracted by the opulences, the material opulences of the Mayasabha. They became envious of Pandavas. But all the other transcendental personalities, they were simply attracted to Lord Krishna's beautiful form. What is the special of the what is so special about that form? Drik, Swasti, Ayanam, Triloka, Niriksha Drik. They are continuously looking at that form. That form is giving Swasti Ayanam, auspiciousness to the three planetary systems, Bhuloka, Borloka, Sargaloka, all the way up to Brahmaloka. The entire material world became auspicious when Lord Krishna was personally present in this world. Because Lord Krishna appears in this world only once in a day and performs his manifest pastimes only for 125 years. So how rare it is. So currently in Brahma's day, the current Brahma's day, 6 Manvantaras have passed, 7th Manvantara is going on. Again, 7 more Manvantaras are there. In the entire day period of 14 Manvantaras, Lord Krishna appears only once and performs only 125 years of pastimes. So, and this Lord Krishna is Parampadam. Saubhagarde Parampadam is the topmost notch of the form of the Supreme Lord. And that Lord appearing means it is not a ordinary thing. And now all the devatas are able to continuously look upon this beautiful form of Lord Krishna. He is being glorified, is being worshipped, is being given the main position in the entire Rajasuya sacrifice. And he is the auspiciousness giver for the entire universe. Karshnena chadyeha gatam vidatur. And it says that till now Lord Brahma, the Vidata, had created so many beautiful things in the entire universe. There are so many beautiful things in the greater Himalayas, on the top of Mount Meru, and in the Kailash, and many places in Indraloka, so many beautiful forests, beautiful rivers, beautiful waterfalls, and the beauty in the form of the clouds in the sky, and beauty in the form of lotus flowers, and so many things one can think of. But the beauty of all those things which were created by Lord Brahma or any other secondary creators, they are all put to shame now. Because Arva Shrutam Kaushalam iti Amanyata. They cannot all those beautiful things which were glorified till now, they are not at all comparable in relation to Lord Krishna. As long as Lord Krishna is personally present, he is the most beautiful thing in the entire universe. There is nothing to be compared with him. And whatever was glorious till now, that became insignificant in Krishna's presence. And this great beauty was directly witnessed by you, because you are also one of the participants in that Rajasuya assembly. So like that, he gives another proof about the greatness of Lord Krishna's forms beauty. So Prabhupada writes, the most beautiful object in the material world may be compared to the blue lotus flower or the full moon in the sky. But even the lotus flower and the moon were defeated by the beauty of the bodily features of Lord Krishna. And this was certified by the Devatas, the most beautiful living creatures in the universe. The Devatas, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and all these people are the most beautiful people, and they are certifying that Lord Krishna is most beautiful. This is the glory of Lord Krishna's beauty. And then he further continues. But even the Devatas could not have the opportunity to relish that beauty for long, because their disposition toward the Supreme Lord is in awe and reverence. And the Yadavas, who were with Lord Krishna, they also had some kind of awe and reverence towards Lord Krishna. But the Vrajavasis, they could relish the beauty of Lord Krishna to the fullest extent. Their relationship with Lord Krishna is completely in intimacy, not in awe and reverence. So now in the next verse is going to tell that it is the Vrajavasis, especially the gopis, who are relished the beauty of Lord Krishna to the fullest extent. Yasyanuraga plutaha sarasa लीलावलोका प्रतिलब्धमाना व्रजश्रियो दृगुभिर् अनुप्रवृत्ता धियो वतष्टुस्किल कृत्य शेषा.
The damsels of Raja, after pastimes of laughter, humor, and exchanges of glances, were anguished when Krishna left them. They used to follow him with their eyes, and thus they sat down with stunned intelligence and could not finish their household duties.
Yeah, here in relation to gopis, Lord Krishna's beauty is explained. The gopis, every night they could associate with Lord Krishna. In the gopis would prepare garlands throughout the day, and they would decorate Lord Krishna in the evening, and they would prepare many wonderful eatables. They would feed Lord Krishna in the night with all those eatables, and they play jokes with him. They play games, they play dance, and so many things. Throughout the night, they would perform all these wonderful pastimes. And the next morning, when Lord Krishna would go to the forest in order to tend the cows, as Lord Krishna leaving Dwaraka, as not Dwaraka, not another, the Vrajabhumi, so the gopis would actually look at Lord Krishna. As Krishna was going to the forest, they would also send their eyes to Lord Krishna to the forest in order to continuously witness the pastimes of Lord Krishna. So to the extent they can see, they would see Lord Krishna. Later on, when they want to resume their household activities, as they were performing their household activities like cooking, like milking the cows, churning the butter, serving their household people, and cleaning the home, etc., etc., they would constantly think about Lord Krishna. They would constantly think about Lord Krishna's pastimes, Lord Krishna's dealings. As they were immersed in Lord Krishna's intimate dealings with them, they would forget what they are doing. If they are serving their family members, they would stop in middle. If they are brooming, they would stop. If they are cooking, they would forget about what is happening in the stove, and like that. So that's why it is said that Vrajastriyo Drugbi Anupravrutta Diyo. That means their vision, their consciousness, Diyo refers to consciousness, their thinking, Drugbi, their eyes. These two actually would follow along with Lord Krishna to the forest during the daytime. Though in the night time they could intimately play with Lord Krishna and joke with him and talk to him and play games, etc. But in the daytime, Lord Krishna would go, when we would go to tending the cows, they would send their intelligence and vision to that. That's why avastastu, though physically they are present at homes, kilakritya chesha, their activities would never complete in a proper order. They would lost themselves in the middle of the activity. Somebody would come and tell, what happened? Where you are you lost? Then they would come back to senses and they would continue the work. Like that, every day they would fail to complete their activities in their home. This is how Lord Krishna's beauty stole the eyes and the consciousness of the Vrajagopis. That is what is indicated here in this verse. So Prabhupada writes, in his boyhood in Vrindavan, Lord Krishna was notorious as a teasing friend in the transcendental love to all the girls his age. His love for them was so intense that there is no comparison to that ecstasy. And the damsels of Vraja were so much attached to him that their affection excelled that of the great devatas like Brahma and Shiva. Lord Krishna finally admitted his defeat before the transcendental affection of the gopis and declared that he was unable to repay them for their unalloyed affection. So basically here, Uddhava is telling that it is only the Vrajagopis relish Lord Krishna's beauty to the maximum extent. Even though his form is consisting of unlimited beauty, but none of us could appreciate, none of us could relish it the way the gopis relish. Because Uddhava personally went to Vraja in order to give the letter of Lord Krishna. That time he stayed there for 2 months. And the gopis would tell what all they would do in all those years when Lord Krishna was personally present in Vraja. So when he heard from the gopis what are their activities in the night time and the daytime, uh, Uddhava himself was completely astonished. So that is what is indicated here. Hare Krishna, all of you are able to follow?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes,
So,
Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
so thus in these 3 verses he is explaining about the greatness of Lord Krishna's beauty. So then somebody may question, okay, what is so great about it? This beauty can anybody display and etc. etc. So now in the next 2-3 verses, the great 15, I think 1 verse only, he talks about the greatness of that beauty. What is so great about Lord Krishna's personality and his beauty that is meant established in this verse. And basically, he's telling that how can you say that Krishna is the Parampadam? Krishna is the topmost. So this verse establishes Krishna's topmost position. स्वशान्तरूपेषु इतरैश्वरूपैर् अभ्यर्धमानेषु अनुकम्पितात्मा परावरेशो महदंशयुक्तो महदंशयुक्तो हि अजोऽपि जातो भगवान् यथाग्नि.
The personality of Godhead, the all-compassionate controller of both the spiritual and material creations, is unborn. But when there is friction between his peaceful devotees and persons who are in the material modes of nature, he takes birth just like fire, accompanied by the Mahatattva.
So this form, which Srila Jiva Goswami also uses in his Krishna Sandarbha to establish Lord Krishna's transcendental position. How Krishna is the Lord of all Lords, Deva the Deva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Swashanta Rupeshu Itarair Swarupair Abhyardhamaneshu. So it said that Swashanta Rupeshu. Swashanta Rupeshu refers to Lord's own peaceful devotees. When the Lord's own peaceful devotees, Itarair, with those who are not devotees of the Supreme Lord and who are also not peaceful, Abhyardhamaneshu, they are being troubled by these envious, non-peaceful, non-devoted beings. That means when Lord's devotees are troubled by non-devotees, Anukampitatma, being overly compassionate towards the devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Lord is actually always compassionate for his own devotees. When his devotees are being troubled by non-devotees, what he does? Swarupair ajo api jato. Swarupair, in his original form, in his transcendental form, ajo api, though he is unborn, he appears. Because the Supreme Lord is Anukampitatma. He is unlimitedly merciful towards his own devotees. When Prahlad Maharaj was in difficulty, he is troubled, constantly troubled by Hiranyakashipu. Lord appeared from the pillar. When Bhumandala was submerged in the water, being prayed by Lord Brahma, Lord appeared as Varaha. And when the Vedas were stolen by demons, Madhu and Kaitaba, Lord appeared as Matsya, being prayed by Lord Brahma when Lord Brahma was in trouble. So like that, every incarnation appeared in order to help his devotees who are troubled by the non-devotees, Itarair non-devotees. So similarly now, what happened? Yata Agni. The Agni is naturally present always in wood, in stone, in diamonds. When you take 2 woods and rub together, when you take 2 stones rub together, when you take 2 diamonds rub together, then there appears the fire sparks outside. Similarly, Lord is always present in the heart of every living entity Paramatma, and also in his own abodes like Madura, Dwaraka, Vrindavan, and any Ayodhya or any other abode. So whenever there is a friction between his devotees and non-devotees, that friction is compared to the rubbing of two wooden blocks or two stones or two diamonds. Then the Lord who is there within that abode, where here specifically the friction is talked about, the friction between Kamsa and Vasudeva, the friction between Kamsa and all the Yadus. Then because of that friction, Lord Krishna appeared, who is eternally present in his Madura, the spiritual abode, Madura. He came out like a fire spark, Yata Agni. So who is he? The one who appeared, who is he? One attribute is Swaruper. He appears in his own form. Second is Bhagavan. He is the supreme personality of God. It is not an ordinary person. And what is so special about this Bhagavan? Para Avara Isha. This Bhagavan is Para Isha. He is the Lord of all the other Bhagavans who used to appear till now from Vaikuntha. All the other forms of Narayana, Vishnumurtis, and Varaha, Kurma, Matsya, Hayagriva, and also the three Purusha forms, Karmadoksha Vishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and Kshirodaksha Vishnu. This form who appeared now in Madura is Paraisha, is the Lord of all those Bhagavan forms of the Vaikuntha. And Avaraisha is also the Lord of all the lords of this material world. We have so many lords in this material world, like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Kshirodaksha Vishnu, Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu, and so many devatas and so many leaders in so many places. He is the Lord of both the leaders of this world. He is the Lord of both the leaders of the Vaikuntha planets. All the Vishnu Murtis. That is the position of this form who appeared in Madura by the friction between Vasudev and Kamsa. Paravaresho. And then so what? Then when he appeared Mahadamsha Yukto, he appeared along with Mahat refers to Mahavishnu. Even Mahavishnu also appeared along with Lord Krishna by entering into him. He did not appear alone. When Lord Krishna comes, all other amshas of his own personality, all swamshas who are there in the Vaikuntha, who are also there in the material world in the form of Karmadoksha Vishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and Kshirodaksha Vishnu. All these three Purusha avatars and all the other Vishnu avatars, they all appeared along with him by entering in his transcendental form. So this is the greatness of Lord Krishna's form. So this is what Uddhava is expressing. That's why Lord Krishna is the supreme personality of God, is the Lord of everyone. So this verse and one of the previous verses, the 12th verse, Jiva Goswami uses in Krishna Dharma Sandarbha to establish Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. Just like the verse quoted in the first canto, 3rd chapter. What is that verse? Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Ete Chamsha Kalapumsha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Indrari Vyakulam Loke Mudayanti Yuge Yuge. Just like that verse, we generally talk about Krishna's position as the transcendental personality, supreme personality of Godhead. Jiva Goswami uses these two verses from this chapter in order to establish Lord Krishna's position as the supreme personality of Godhead. So thus, Uddhava actually talks about what is the greatness, glory of Lord Krishna's beautiful form.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, this line in the translation says no that he takes birth just like fire accompanied by Mahat Tattva. So I didn't clearly understand it. Like Mahat Tattva is the one which we saw in the second chapter also, from which the whole creation originates. So does it mean that he takes all that creation along with him when he appears, or how we should understand?
See, there are different meanings to this. Here, Mahat is translated as Mahatattva, Mahadamsha Yukta, accompanied by the plenary portions of Mahatattva. So, who is the present deity of Mahatattva?
Pardon?
Who is the presiding deity of Mahatattva?
Karanadakshayi.
Karanadaksha Vishnu? Karanadaksha Vishnu, the creator of Mahatattva. He is not the deity of Mahatattva. Sorry? Who is the deity of Mahatattva? Control and deity of Mahatattva.
To be very frank, I'm first time hearing this, that presiding deity of Mahatattva means there is something called like that.
And we discussed about it, and we have also, all of you also wrote in the exam. You
It was
open the
there in the
table.
Shiva, Lord Shiva,
Lord Shiva is the deity of Ahankara.
Ahankara,
Hmm. Who is the deity of mind?
Moon.
Moon. Who is the deity? Who is the deity of
Mind
intelligence?
is Krishna.
Chandra,
Sorry,
Chandra,
intelligence. Who is the deity of intelligence? No problem. We discussed this in the 5th chapter. The 14 devatas were being presented. The creation chart, all of you wrote it also. The time we discussed, all the present deities were there. But anyway, I will tell you. The elements have devatas. The deity of mind is Chandra. The deity of intelligence is Brahma. The deity of Ahankara is Shiva. The deity of Mahatattva is Vishnu, Lord Vishnu. So here Mahad refers to Mahatattva. Mahatattva means not Mahatattva. The deity of Mahatattva, that is Lord Vishnu. Karanadaksha Vishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Kshirodaksha Vishnu, all these three also appeared along with Lord Krishna when he appeared. So in that way. And Amsha means all the other Amshas of Lord Vishnu. Kurma, Varaha, Matsya, and all other Vishnu forms of Vaikuntha, they all also appeared along with Lord Krishna.
Okay.
That is understood.
And one more thing was, Prabhuji, like when we say the Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva, Lord word we use, like Hindi we say Bhagwan. Same thing is when we use for that in English Lord. No? So Bhagwan means the one who possesses 6 opulences. Then why generally means many, not only here, at many times we see that we use Lord word for Brahmaji or Shivji also.
I mean, this is a British word which was used since then. Prabhupada studied in the British school. So whenever he writes, most of his English is the British English.
Okay.
So which later on edited by American English. Prabhupada's disciples are from America. So their English is different from Prabhupada's English. Prabhupada's English is British English. So the Lord is general term to understand the master. That is how it is. In our Hindi, we have Bhagavan, Devata, etc. etc. So Prabhupada writes when it comes to Lord Vishnu's forms, Lord with capital L. When it comes to the Devatas, he uses Lord with small l.
Okay.
That distinction is used. And many times, in order to explain the meaning of Bhagavan, Prabhupada generally writes Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is also a British word. Personality of Godhead, parts and parcels, Lord, these are all British words.
And Prabhuji, nowhere it is said God Brahma or God Shiva. It's
Yes,
always God Krishna. I mean,
Ah.
that's God is equivalent to Krishna is what we have seen.
And no, if you see the translations of the Mahabharata Ramayana by Anglo-Indians, they always write gods, these gods, Indian gods, this god, that gods. They use the plural, Gods. Because they don't have this concept of pantheism, many gods. For them, there is only one god. For them, God is generator, operator, and destroyer. So that is their understanding of God. So in their language, they use God and gods. When it comes to India, they have two words, God and gods. These are all like a language, how it is understood by different people at different places. But wherever we have some doubt, we can use our Hindi words or Sanskrit words without any problem. Because Hindi or Sanskrit, they are very clear in their meaning, without creating any confusion. So from that way, we are in apparently in the safe position. We don't get confused by these words. Because Prabhupada has to address the Western crowd and Western people, so he used many of these Western kind words. I mean, this is my understanding. I may be wrong. So here, Uddhava is trying to establish about the transcendental position of Lord Krishna. Even Prabhupada writes same thing, you see. Mahadamsha Yukta indicates that he is accompanied by the Purushas who create Mahatattva. It is confirmed in the Vedic hymns, Mahantam Vibhum Atmanam. So here the same analogy is explained further. Krishna is compared to be sun at the beginning of this conversation. That is further established here. He first appeared from the ocean of the womb of Devaki. Devaki's womb is like the ocean, which is there in the eastern direction, from which in the morning the sun appears to be taking birth. And gradually he satisfied the inhabitants of the places surrounding Madura, just as the sun enlivens the lotus flowers in the morning. So basically, Devaki is like the ocean in the eastern direction, and the mountains which we also see in the eastern direction, they are like Madura. So in that Madura, when Lord Krishna appeared, he gives joy to the people of entire Madura, and eventually in Vrindavan and Madura and in Dwaraka and other places, Hastinapur, etc. All these people were given joy throughout the day as Lord Krishna was performing pastimes as sun passing from east to west. After gradually rising to the meridian of Dwaraka, Dwaraka is like the meridian noontime, the Lord set like the sun, placing everything in darkness, as described by Uddhava. So in the evening, Lord Krishna went to the western mountain that is called Prabhas, and from there he disappeared from the vision of the people of this world, putting the entire universe into darkness. So this was the analogy given by, not analogy, comparison given by Uddhava at the beginning, the very first verse. So that is further kind of established here. So Lord Krishna accepted a transcendental form that is not ordinary form, and he became visible to all of us, in the sense those who are there at that time, and he himself became invisible. So just because he became visible and invisible, we cannot be compare him like to us, like us. We also appear and disappear. No, he is actually transcendental. Having established his transcendental position, his transcendental beauty of his form, now in the next 16, 17 and 22, Uddhava is going to express his own kind of pain in the heart. He is such a great person, but he is performing pastimes in a seemingly, apparently very simple, but all these pastimes are actually giving me great pain. So what are all the different pastimes giving Uddhava pain that are mentioned in the three verses, 16, 17 and 22, that are mentioned in these three verses? Mam kedayatye tadajasya janma vidambanam yadvasudeva gehe vraje च वासोरिभयादिव स्वयं पुरा व्यवास्ते yadananta virya.
When I think of Lord Krishna, how he was born in the prison house of
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, someone else can read. We could not hear anything.
When I think
Of Lord Krishna, how he was born in the prison house of Vasudev, although he is unborn, how he went away from his father's protection to Vraja and lived there incognito out of fear of the enemy, and how, although unlimitedly powerful, he fled from Mathura in fear. All these bewildering incidents give me distress.
Mm. So in this verse, he quotes three incidents which are actually putting him in pain. Mam kedayati. I actually go through pain. For what? Etad. This Lord, who is the Parampadam, who is Vishwasya Taubagarde, and who is first Tayanam Triloki. That Lord is actually Aja, Anban, Janma. He appears. So somebody may say, okay, no problem. Lord appearing should be a very joyous occasion. Why are you feeling bad? So first thing is Vidambanam. His appearance is like that of an appearance. Is actually not appearance. It is not a appearance like you and me. He appeared at the same time. His appearance is not like ours. It is actually Vidambanam. And so what? Whether it is real appearance or imitation appearance, Lord appeared. You should be happy by that Lord appeared. Then Uddhava says, I am happy that Lord appeared. I am very happy about it. But I am not happy that Lord, either though he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he appeared in a painful circumstances. He appeared in Vasudeva Gehe, in the house of Vasudeva, which was actually kind of quarantined by Kamsa. Since the time of marriage of Vasudeva with Devaki, Vasudeva was house quarantined. He was kept in his own home. He could not go out of his home. He can stay within the home with his family members, with his wife and other family members, but he cannot get out of the home. Vasudeva Gehe. In that house arrest situation, he was born, because of which others could not come to his house, as he could not go out, and he cannot share the happiness or the joy of his son's birth with anybody else, because he was kept in the house. He is not allowed to go out, and others are not allowed to meet him, and etc. etc. So many things. Only his family members are there inside the house. So that's why it gives me pain that though he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he appeared in a painful circumstances. That gives me pain, not his appearance. So, but I am happy that he appeared, whatever way it may be. His appearance itself is auspicious to the entire universe. So why should you be sorry about it? Then Uddhava says, okay, no problem, that I'll accept. His appearance is auspiciousness giving. But afterwards, Ari Bayad, Vrajesha Vaso, being afraid of Ari, his enemy Kamsa, he immediately went to Vraja, and he lived there in incognito for 11.5 years. That gives me pain. He the Supreme Lord, and he went to Vraja and lived there like a incognito, in incognito, like a in a hidden way. So that gives me pain, because the Supreme Personality of God could do anything. So one instance, Acharya said that Lord Krishna was actually afraid that Akashvani told that eighth son will kill Kamsa, and the seventh son is going to be Balramji. If Balramji is allowed to take birth from the womb of Devaki, if Kamsa, when he comes to know that child is born, he would come to kill the seventh son, and Balramji will kill him immediately. And that is not proper. The Devatas have already proclaimed that eighth son will kill Kamsa. So in order to keep the words of Devatas, that who said that eighth son will kill Kamsa, Lord Krishna immediately called Yogamaya and shifted Balramji from the womb of Devaki to the Rohini's womb. And that Rohini was sent to Vraja under the care of Nanda Maharaj immediately by Vasudev. So many things have happened now then. So, but that Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, who can do all these things, he himself out of fear fled to Gokul out of fear of Kamsa. Then the Acharya said that you yourself are telling that Aribaya Deva Swayam, as if he became fearful of Kamsa, he went away. But when you use the word Iva, that means he is not fearful actually. He is only playing as if he is fearful of Kamsa. So don't worry, don't be sad about it. Lord Krishna wanted to perform wonderful pastimes with the gopis. If he would have appeared from Devaki and Vasudev stayed in Madura only, and Kamsa would have come and he would have killed Kamsa, then his parent, he would have continued to stay in Madura only, would never gone to Vrindavan. In order to perform all the wonderful pastimes, he went to Vrindavan or Gokul. This is only a play, not a play that he became fearful of Kamsa. He was not fearful of Kamsa. So in that way, it says. But then Uddhava says, okay, that is fine. That time he was a small kid. He wanted to perform pastimes in Vraja. So that's how he acted as if he is fearful of Kamsa. But now he came back to Madura. Then he came to he fought with Jarasandha for many times. But now it is again he established himself as a supreme lord, the most powerful person in the entire surface of the land, surface of earth. And now why again fled to Madura? Fled from Madura, constructing a fort within the middle of the ocean in Dwarka. Swayam Purad Vyavasthit Yed Ananta Virya. Though he is the lord of Ananta Virya, unlimited potency, and out of fear of Jarasandha and Kalayavana, he fled from the battlefield and he constructed a township in the middle of the ocean so that he can live fearlessly. So these pastimes actually give me pain. I am painful when I see these pastimes of the Supreme Lord. I requested many people about the meaning of these pastimes, but none of them gave me clear answer. But recently when I met Lord Krishna in Prabhas, he actually told me why he performed all these pastimes, what was the intent behind all this performance of all these pastimes. Now I am satisfied, but all the while, all these years, I was actually going through a lot of pain seeing all these pastimes of Lord Krishna. Why he has to do all these things like that? I was feeling pain. So Prabhupada writes, a pure devotee knows very well how it is possible for the Lord to adjust opposite things. But he laments for the non-devotees who, not knowing the supreme glories of the Lord, think of him as imaginary, simply because there are so many apparently contradictory statements in the scriptures. Factually, there is nothing contradictory. Everything is possible when we understand the Lord as the Lord and not as one of us, with all our imperfections. When people of this world read the pastimes of Lord Krishna, they see that okay, he's also like us, he's also a normal person, he's also behaving like any ordinary person and he's doing like that. So how can you say he's Lord? That kind of understanding will come forth from the people of this world. But only the acharyas and the devotees have proper understanding of the Supreme Lord. They know the intent of Lord Krishna, why he is doing what he is doing. That is not understood by each and every one of this world. So that is what Prabhupada says in this purport.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
So, Prabhu, what was the answer that the Lord gave in the 11th canto?
No, not 11th canto. Answer is told in the 4th chapter only. Here only 3rd canto.
Okay.
So Lord Krishna gives answer to Uddhava in the 4th chapter. That we will discuss. What is the answer Lord Krishna told to Uddhava. Then he mentions about one more pastime, which actually gives him pain. Dunoti cheta smarato mamaitat yada hapadau abhivandya pitro tatambakasmad vurishankitanam prasidatam no kruta nishkritinam.
Lord Krishna begged pardon from his parents for their Krishna's and Balram's inability to serve their faith due to being away from home because of great fear of Kamsa. He said, "O mother, O father, please excuse us for this inability. All this behavior of the Lord gives me pain at heart."
So here he talks about one more pastime, which creates a lot of pain to Uddhava. Uddhava says that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is the Lord and maintainer of every one of this world. And that Krishna is actually begging forgiveness from both his parents, mother and father, Devaki and Vasudeva. After killing Kamsa, after releasing both Devaki and Vasudeva from the house arrest, then both of them fall flat at the feet of Devaki and Vasudeva, both Balram and Krishna. And then they are actually begging forgiveness from Devaki and Vasudeva, saying that Prasida Tamno Akrita Nishkritinam. Why? Uru Shankitanam. They say that out of great fear of Kamsa, we both stayed in Raja for so many years without being noticed by Kamsa, without being seen by him. And somehow or other, we came now. We could able to kill him. And please forgive us for allowing you both to go through the imprisonment of Kamsa, going through the troubles inflicted by Kamsa all these years. We were living there in incognito and you both were going through trouble. Prasidatam, no. Be satisfied with us. Even though we have done Akrita Nishkritinam, we have given you so much pain because of our birth. You have to go through so many pains. And please forgive us and be pleased with us. Like that, both Krishna and Balram, Yadaha Padau Abhivandya Pitror, both of them fell at the feet of Devaki and Vasudeva like flat, and they were begging forgiveness from Devaki and Vasudeva. And this pastime of Lord Krishna gives me pain. Dunoti Cheta Smarato Mamaitad. Whenever I remember this event of Lord Krishna, this pastime of Lord Krishna, I actually feel so much pain. He is the Lord of the entire material and spiritual world, and he is begging forgiveness from his parents Devaki and Vasudeva. So, like that, Uddhava expresses his pain in this verse. But it is not that Lord Krishna did not protect Devaki Vasudeva. It is not because of Lord Krishna only they are into pain, not like that. Lord Krishna is actually expressing his humility in front of his parents. If someone takes the words literally, then one would say that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, is not the Supreme Lord. If somebody says that no, Krishna is Supreme Lord, he is simply saying just like that. That means he is lying. How can the Supreme Absolute Truth can lie? So these two understandings does not give proper understanding. The proper understanding is Lord Krishna is actually expressing his humility to his parents. Here, don't see them in a technical way, but see them uh, the expression of Lord's humility according to the convention, which actually enhances the sweetness between parents and children. If you go according to Ruth, the emotions between Devaki, Vasudeva, and Krishna and Balaram would not enhance. But Lord Krishna, when expressed his humility in this way, the love of Devaki and Vasudeva increased thousandfold towards Krishna and Balaram. So, with that thing, Lord Krishna actually performed this pastime like this. And this, though whatever be the reason, but Lord Krishna doing like this actually gives me pain for me. Whenever I remember this pastime, it gives me intense pain like that. Uddhava is telling. Here Prabhupada writes, out of his great love for Krishna, he broke his promise. That is about Vasudeva. Vasudeva told that I will give you every one of my son to you. But Vasudeva wanted to save Lord Krishna. So he broke his own promise and took Krishna to Vraja and he gave daughter to Kamsa. This is because out of his great love for Lord Krishna, he broke his own promise. And the Lord was very pleased with Vasudeva for his transcendental mentality. He did not want to disturb the intense affection of Vasudeva, and thus he agreed to be carried by his father to the house of Nanda and Yashoda. And just to test the intense love of Vasudeva, Lord Krishna fell down in the waters of the Yamuna while his father was crossing the river. Vasudeva became mad after his child as he tried to recover him in the midst of the rising river. Prabhupada tells about one more pastime about it. So how he was playing with his father also as he was carried to Gokul. Since Lord Krishna, the Supreme Lord, he was never afraid of Kamsa, but to please his father, he agreed to be so. And the most brilliant part of his supreme character was that he begged pardon for his parents, from his parents, for being unable to serve their feet while absent from home because of fear of Kamsa. The Lord whose lotus feet are worshipped by demigods like Brahma and Shiva wanted to worship the feet of Vasudeva. Such instruction by the Lord to the world is quite appropriate. Even if one is the Supreme Lord, one must serve his parents. A son is indebted to his parents in so many ways, and it is a duty of the son to serve his parents, however great the son may be. Indirectly, Krishna wanted to teach the atheists who do not accept the supreme fatherhood of God, and they may learn from this action how much the Supreme Father has to be respected. Uddhava was simply struck with wonder by such glorious behavior of the Lord, and he was very sorry for that he was unable to go with him, unable to go back home back to Godhead along with Lord Krishna, for which he was sorry about it. So Prabhupada expands it, saying that it is the duty of every son to serve the parents. So like in 2 verses, Uddhava expressed his astonishment, his pain, looking at Lord Krishna's wonderful pastimes. So then somebody may question that, hey, what is so special in these events? These things can be performed by any other person of this world. Any son would respect their parents. Any son would beg forgiveness from the parents whenever there is apparent mistake is there. Or every person takes birth and he goes here and there out of fear. All these things can be done by any ordinary person. But Uddhava says, no. Any ordinary person can do all these things, that is different. But Lord Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is supreme personality of Godhoodness. He is established in the next 3 verses, 18, 19, 20. In the next 3 verses, Uddhava actually establishes Lord Krishna's Godhoodness. Hare Krishna, able to follow? All of you?
Yes,
Any
Yes.
Any query till
Prabhuji,
now?
just one thing, Prabhuji, when the Krishna was carried to Vrindavana, he had actually fell down in the water of Yamuna.
I don't know. We need to read Goswami's literature. They must have explained all these past things. Prabhupada writes about this. He fell down into water. We
Yeah,
generally hear that water actually came up to the feet of Lord Krishna. That is generally we
Yeah,
hear.
that's one.
So for more details, you can read Goswami's literature. They must have explained all these past times.
Okay, Prabhu.
Anyone else has any query till now?
Prabhuji,
Ah.
the end pastimes of Krishna, did he leave his body behind for cremation and everything? Because I read some article somewhere.
Okay. Please hold on with your question. We will discuss this in the 4th chapter. That comes in the 4th chapter.
Okay.
So currently, based on what we discussed till now, from that if you have query, you can ask. Anyone else? Durgadas Prabhu or Pradeep Prabhu or Binit Prabhu, Rishikesh Prabhu.
No, Prabhuji.
Okay.
No, Prabhuji.
Okay, fine. Then we will have 5 minutes break. Then we'll again continue.
Okay.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.